Alrighty, welcome people. So this is our Jesse and Trey podcast. We've got our special guest, Agnija, is here. So it's a three-person trio. We got a feminine voice today. And how you guys doing?
Agnija?
Yeah, or either of you guys.
Yeah, well, obviously we're going through an interesting time right now. So Mercury retrograde, lockdown in London, but yeah, it's very interesting to watch and you know, watch yourself, observe what's going on around.
Yeah, we got two.
Cool. Yeah,
Two people in London.
I've been like the delay. Yeah, I've been just kind of diving back into Egyptian stuff and Nordic stuff and Celtic stuff and sacred geometry. And I've been kind of like, because I haven't been able to leave the house because of lockdown in London. So I've just been like fully kind of investing myself into some spiritual studies. And that's really been helping to direct all this excess energy.
Definitely the best way to do, I believe.
Yeah, I've just been chilling, been working out, same old, done with school, got a few grades back that were really good, and just wanting to go on trips and just doing, I don't know, just kind of same thing, you know, kind of constant, less like ups and downs than in past years, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I've been wanting to travel like, oh my God, so badly. I keep thinking of like once the weather's better and I can go over to Glastonbury and just like, you know, go to some sacred lands, go to some sacred places and just travel around.
100% agree. Trey, we should go together, right?
Yes, definitely. Have you been to Glastonbury before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. I can give you the tour, the special tour.
Perfect. Sounds great. Yeah, I think that we will all three agree that travel is something that I've been missing the most, to be honest. Not even like, you know, social life as much or anything like that, but just going to the trips, going abroad, exploring, going new places. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. For me, mostly like music, like electronic music is what I miss the most, than traveling than family, to be honest. No, I'm joking. But yeah, what about you, Trey?
Yeah, I mean, at first it was social aspect, but over the past month, I've really come into a sort of kind of hermit feeling within myself where I'm just so comfortable being alone right now, like completely at ease. And I think it's just kind of this development. I'm going to say self-love because it's hard to, you know, I mean, it's a loaded word in the New Age community, but it is self-love. And it's just come to a place where I had realized that my whole life I was seeking for some sort of energy or validation from friends and other people. And having this isolation has actually completely rewired my brain for me to provide that for myself. But at the same time, there's an excitement like to go out and meet new people and travel and explore because there's this love as well to like meet humans and connect again. But it's not coming from a place of like, I need this, like, you know, how we need food or something. I used to have that, you know, that craving inside for like a social group or dynamic, but now it's just a pure excitement to go and just experience as many people as possible in as many places.
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
Yeah, should be good when that comes, hopefully summer. We were talking about some stuff before we jumped on and we decided to kind of just record, see where it went. But I think one of the things that I thought was interesting, so I have a list here that I made. Trey, you said something about kind of switch topics, interacting, because, you know, obviously people have been in lockdown. There's a lot of karma associated with like who you're with, if it's your family, if it's your boyfriend or girlfriend or friends, roommates, whatever. But there's been, you were talking about how maybe, I don't want to say non-spiritual people, but some people might be interacting with projecting is what you called it, but kind of interacting with you in a way that's like a past version of you, where they're, for example, like they're not looking at you for who you really are, but looking like maybe speaking to like the 5 years ago version of you. And how I know a lot of people most likely are going through something like that. Trey, you want to kind of touch on what you were saying about that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say non-spiritual people. It's people caught in, I guess, thought, who are still caught in thought, because I feel once you begin to get a separation from your identity to thought and, you know, your whole personality, because, you know, the personality is just something that we created over our lifetime, which is just pretty much an accumulation of experiences and thoughts that we've identified with. But when we eventually take a step back from that, we step into a place where we're connecting with people in the moment and it's a very raw bioelectric energetic feedback in the moment, and it creates a dynamic of empathy that generates energy and is fresh and new. But there's so many people who are still kind of caught in these thought structures and in experiences in the past, and it ends up creating like a film, like a layer over us, or over the people they interact with. And what it is this projection of their internal reality onto another person. And there's a loss that happens there.
Can you give us an example, like a very, very obvious, easy example?
Okay. I've had a couple times where when I was a teenager, I used to escape a lot through video games or something. And when I came back from Romania, when I was going to visit you, and me personally, I did quite a bit of drugs while I was there. And then I come back and kind of relay the experience, and my parents begin to project the whole past onto me. And so every time I looked into their eyes, I saw this worry that I was going to like become some sort of drug addict, that I was going to use it to escape. And there was all this fears and projection every time I looked at them. So every time we had an interaction or a communication, that was just there in the background. And it's hard to just live if you or to live and to communicate with someone when you're constantly having to work as well with their projection of you.
Yo, you gave me the best example, is like when I went from being kind of like a party boy type dude in college to being like spiritual, like all of a sudden, you know, I like went to rehab, and then right after rehab, like I found a rope. Like it was like a really kind of quick like inner growth or whatever change. Some of my like friends who are still my friends would like, that's how they would almost be speaking to that past version. They had no idea how to speak to like the new version of me, even though like I still hold parts of that like of that personality. I'm not like a Buddha, like praying all day, like not like any dark humor. Like I'm still the same me. But yeah, there was a while where it was just uncomfortable, because like certain friends would just be speaking to like the me who got fucked up 5 nights a week and cared about like, you know, talked about like stupid shit, like laughed a lot. And like the new me was like moving on, you know, and it was really uncomfortable. I feel like a lot of people probably are going through some of that right now, being with, you know, whoever it is that they're forced to be with this year.
I think that families and lockdowns is particularly a really difficult time. I've got like a few friends that actually we've been talking during lockdown, and they've been actually talking about the same thing, you know, being with a family and being stuck in the house, not being able to leave, and how everything manifests out, you know, especially for a person who has left their family, lived abroad, and then came back and then experienced it again. It's just it feels like deja vu, you know, almost like, but like in a very difficult manner, like in a long term.
Yeah.
And it just like kind of, I'm not saying anything like bad. Like, look, the thing is, we have our families, everyone have different relationship and family whatsoever, but the lockdown actually puts everyone very, you know, like to the point that you kind of crash. So I
Yeah.
think that a lot of in astrology, like Chiron, you know, it's like the rounds that we have and stuff. I think a lot of bounds come from like past, you know, during lockdown, especially if you're with family surrounded by. So you have to kind of like probably it comes like to get back to that and like just finish it, you know, like understand what's the lesson or move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, like when I
Yeah,
first
it's like
came
so
back to
much.
the house, when I first came back to the house, it was like a regression that kind of happened. It was like when I stepped into the house, and like every time I would come back from university and visit my family, I would be overflowing with energy, and like I'd give so much, you know, and after maybe a week or two, I start to get drained. And I was like questioning like what is happening. And I noticed that like when you kind of get back into, there's this concept within Celtic mythology called the genus loci of an area, and it's like certain spaces hold a lot of energy. Like if you go to a special grove in a forest, the genus loci of that area is like really like abundant. There's lots of energy flowing. But then let's say you kill an animal in that space, then something happens to the energy. There's some sort of like twist. But when it comes to like places and people, we have our own like micro genus loci. So let's say if we go and visit an old house, we may get, if we live there long enough, we may kind of slip back into old habits or patterns. And that's kind of what happened when I came home. And I had to re-dig myself out of my old patterns. And I had to become so focused, like I was I was like some super guy, just like had to get so focused and remember and center myself back so that I wasn't getting pulled in like a gravity back into kind of this older, you know, teenager self.
You know what reminds me? It just I have a lot of visual kind of, I visualize, you know, when you say something. So just imagine the little hamster running in a wheel, you know, just around and around, and you just get back, you just get back, you just get back. You're like, damn, I just want to get out of this wheel. Like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And you concentrate and you still keep running the wheel.
Yeah, I literally made a video called that like a week ago or some shit. Yeah, stop being like the blind hamster in the wheel or something was the metaphor I thought of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, because Trey went back with his family, and like all this, like I was trying to get him to come out here because like it's gonna be way more fun to be out here, but just couldn't happen. Like the karma just like couldn't align.
I didn't have any money.
Yeah, there's like
time.
It was just like it wouldn't have worked, you know. And it's just interesting. Like sometimes I like feeling like the energy of like my free will trying to go against like fate and karma, because like Trey was obviously meant to like stay with his family during that time. There's no way he could have. I mean, yeah, you would have probably figured it out here. Honestly, you probably would have been able to figure it out with writing and stuff and cost of living.
Yeah, I mean,
everything happens in the right moment. So
yeah,
it doesn't really
exactly.
matter if he did, if he would. You know, everything what we do, it happens in the exactly right moment, and it's just meant to be like that.
Yeah, I just think it's fascinating the karma of like like what karma you have with what people and why you were meant to be with them during lockdown. Because most people's lives, like, you know, they work a lot, they live with, you know, a roommate or a lover, and they're mostly at work. And this year has just been like a complete like fucking shift where you're like forced to be, people losing their job, people off work, people working from home, like forced to confront like deep personal stuff. So I just find that fascinating for people to think about. It's like, what is the karma between you and the people you've had to spend the most time with this year? Because some people, like, they'll look at it and they won't be able to really imagine the depth of it. You know, it might seem like not deep, but then when you actually think about it, like, oh, maybe this person that like just seems like my fucking brother or my fucking mom or my fucking, you know, whatever random friend, like maybe it's way deeper than that. Maybe there's like tons of past life, like maybe there's a really big cycle that needs to get broken in some way.
Surely.
Because how many people have been living with people that they like are super just like have you heard of anyone that's lived, like, been in COVID quarantine with people who they have zero qualms with, that's just like perfect smooth sailing all the time? I haven't heard of one person. I don't know if you guys have.
No.
So,
If we lived together, we'd probably be smooth sailing. Jesse and I, like,
yeah, if me and
when we
Trey,
hung
zero
out-
fights. Zero fights
Yeah.
ever. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, but like, seriously, can you guys think of anyone? I can't think. I've talked to hundreds of people, probably. Not one person has told me like, oh yeah, like I live with like my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my best friend, and like we never get in fights. It's everyone's fucking beefing with whoever the fuck they're living with. So that's just proving that this is like all divine, like everything, COVID, whatever, it's divine. Everything is divine, and it's forcing people to be with each other. Maybe with people that they have a lot of like fucked up karma that they might otherwise, through the rat race of, I nearly said rat dick, like Rat Dick Ralph Trey. Or, yeah. Through the rat race, it's a podcast or a show we watch on YouTube.
Hamster race.
yeah. Through the rat race of life, like it's things that can be avoided. That can be avoided. You know, people can just like, you can avoid your family relationships because you can just move to another place. You can avoid that relation, or like having the confrontations because maybe you guys are both working all the time. Or you can just go to somewhere else. But when it's quarantine, you're fucking there. If you don't have money, you come back with your family. It's like, it's just crazy. It's so interesting.
But the best fact is like when you actually get, like Trey's family had, yeah. So when you actually get a COVID and you are not allowed to leave your door, like that's the most, that's the max I think you can get, because obviously quarantine is quarantine. Yeah, you still can walk outside. You can still, like, I don't know, go somewhere else. I don't know. You can leave the house, you know. But once you can't leave the house, that's where it starts. That's where the party starts, you know. That's just super intense. And it's, imagine if this was like, if you were looking at a module of, like, let's say a flat from the top, and you see little Trey there and his mom there and his brother there, and then you just see from the top, how does it, and then every day and what they do,
the marionettes.
It's just crazy if you think
karmic
how our life looks like from the top.
Trey, I'm the marionette guy on top of your house, controlling all the marionettes of your family, like that with my fucking just a like evil face, like That's your creep.
Well,
I hope you have that. I hope you have that nightmare tonight, Trey. I hope that's your life for an entire nightmare.
Oh my God, controlled by Jesse.
My evil jester side.
Probably better that Jesse's actually controlling and not someone else.
I don't know about that.
Trey knows this kind of like joke side of me. That's like this kind of like, how would you describe it? Like this jester from, like, kind of Joker demon. It's like not really evil, but just like like a hyena kind of energy.
Like a yeah, definitely.
I would say like a just Trey.
Just try. Mystery.
Wait, one time when Jesse was really embodying this energy, should we tell the story?
Oh, the spiders?
Yeah.
Let's go there, because that can enter a better discussion about what that represented.
Yeah.
The spider thing.
So we just came back from a concert, right? We did some psychedelics. We did a good amount of psychedelics.
I think mushrooms. I did mushrooms. Yeah. This is probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I think it was the concert where I jumped in the river naked, right?
I don't remember anything.
I've jumped in a lot of
Yeah,
jumped in a lot of rivers naked, but
Trey is wild. Like he is like the kind of guy, especially when I was there to like really, not that I had any role, but I can really like motivate people to do fucking dumb shit. So like Trey would already be thinking about it. I'd be like, come on, man, like, fucking go, dude, you got this. And he's like, okay. And he just like takes off all his clothes. It's in Colorado. It's frozen outside. Like we just left the concert. It's 2 a.m. There's a frozen glacier lake. And he just takes off all his clothes, maybe besides his boxers, goes in the fucking lake for a good 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. I don't know. He's like chilling in there. Comes out, nothing. Crazy guy. It was not the first time. Once I made him, remember? Oh my God, Trey, I made him swim in the most claustrophobic thing ever. We were hiking. There was this tube that was like this sewage tube almost. Like it looked like a big sewage tube.
It was rainwater.
Okay.
Yeah. Trey, you can describe it, Trey. You're a better storyteller than me.
It's just like a rainwater like canal that kind of runs down the mountain. It's more like a artificial stream, but with like no concrete. But then there's just this tunnel that goes on under the earth forever. And Jesse's like, you got to swim in it. So I just get down into my boxers and just go through this tunnel. It's awesome.
What's with you in the boxers always?
If I can take my clothes off, I'm going to.
That's the name of this episode. But yeah, no, Trey you have no idea. Like he probably had this much breathing room, like in the cylinder, and there's spider webs everywhere. And he was just like, he said he was like running into and breathing in spider webs, and just like he finally got out the other side. I was like, wow, what a man. What a giant.
Yeah. So what's about the spiders? The story.
Yeah. So back to the story. So we got back from the concert. You want to tell it?
I'll tell the first bit and then you go to the next bit, because then it's more about you in the next bit. Okay. So we get home.
You just tell it.
We get home and Jesse's all of a sudden embodied this personality. He's like channeling this sort of energy, and he's like I'm a really good actor. Like and we have this thing on the floor that you lift up, and it leads to a basement that's like all dark and cold and everything, and he lifts up the basement.
A dungeon.
It's a dungeon. It's literally like it's like, imagine like it's not a really nice house. It's like, in Boulder, an older house. It's like part of the carpet, and there's this little like fucking tiny hook like in our main kitchen like kind of area, and you pull the hook and it's like blends in with the carpet, and it opens up this kind of like wooden trap door, and there's like these really rusty old as fuck stairs that go down there, and there's like a few things stored.
When you go inside, you have the book, that you open, and then opens the secret door.
That would have been awesome.
I wish it was that.
I wish it was that
like
that.
Oh yeah, defo.
Yeah. I might have something like that currently, but it's a secret. Yeah. No, I don't. I have something kind of like that, but it's not like cool. Anyways, so we open the door. I'm being all crazy and like a gesture, like this character I created. Psychedelics are making me feel real.
We're still high on the psychedelics.
And I'm drunk because I always get like hammered when I take psychedelics. When I come down, I was hammered too.
Yeah, but Jesse's not Jesse anymore. Like there is no part of him that's himself. He's completely become this other character, and it's like
on
imagine
purpose.
This like
on purpose.
Yeah, this like this jester, carnival kind of person, but in a dark kind of like like mischievous way, and he's like opened the dungeon.
Tell her about the Harlequin Realm. the Harlequin Realm. Tell her about the Harlequin Realm. Or are we going too far into the rabbit holes?
Well, no, there's this concept called the Harlequin Realm, where it's like a realm of existence where everything is like a dark, creepy carnival. And it's like, if you can imagine like carnival music, but everything is like off tune, like
that, really creepy.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's that energy, and he's inviting us down into the dungeon, and I'm like, yes, let's do this. Like me and my roommate are so down for what's happening right now, because he's just got all this energy, like being this complete character. and there's a crawl space beneath the stairs, beneath the floor. You would have to get on your stomach and crawl like on your stomach to be able to get through it. So it's probably like this, this
You're not
high.
describing this, Trey. You're not describing how small. This is a tiny fucking, like, it's like a small staircase. It's not big. And it's all old as fuck. Like, no one's ever touched it. No one ever goes down there ever. No one's ever been under those stairs. So I look under the stairs, and I'm to the really scared of spiders. Not really anymore because of this. And there's literally oceans of spider webs. I'm talking like everything is just like this much spider webs, like everywhere, and you can walk for probably like if you got on your like you could probably army walk your way. Yeah, army crawl. That's it. Around, but you can't walk because it's only about like this tall, and it kind of like crevices a little bit. And I don't remember how it happened, but I was super down. I was like, Trey, let's fucking go. Trey was way more sober than me, but he's always down for everything. So Trey got in his boxers. I got in my boxers. I went first and just fucking straight into the spider webs and just loving it. Stayed for a while. I think we drank. Did we take a shot down there? I took a shot or something. I don't remember.
We did, yeah. We did drink something down there.
We chilled down there, and I swear to God, like ever since then, my fear of spiders. I'm not gonna say I'm not afraid of spiders anymore, but I'm not on that level. And the funniest thing was that after we both took like obviously baths or showers, I think we both took separate baths. Obviously, we're not fucking taking the same baths. I had so many fucking bites on my legs. Yeah, we were together in our little bath. No, my leg was literally a million bites. Like, it was ridiculous. Trey had 0 bites. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
Trey had no bites, and
Jesse
just fucked with you, dude. Because Trey.
Are you sure it was bites, or maybe it could have been like allergic reaction to something?
Oh yeah. No, I got my ass bit by some. There's 2 theories. There's one is that I went first, so all the big motherfuckers were like bite and then dip the fuck out. 2 is that Trey once had a crazy experience when he was in Hawaii or Costa Rica or some shit, where he like, if you want to tell that story, basically Trey like had a million spiders crawling on him, but he accepted it, and he had like some spiritual, like real journey that most people would hear and be like, that's bullshit, but like it was real, and he basically like made peace with spiders. How else would you describe it?
Yeah, well, we're just like on the ocean by the jungle, and we were all chilling, and we decided, we might want to smoke some DMT or something. And
I wasn't there. This was before I knew Trey.
My friend, his name was Gesso. He smoked some, and then he just suddenly got up and walked away. And I was like, all right. He just walked off, and then he just jumped into the ocean. I was like, all right, I'll let him do his thing. And I was about to go for my go, and I'm right about to smoke it. But before I do, these spiders, hundreds and hundreds of spiders, like I haven't done anything, come crawling out from the jungle onto the beach. And my other friend who's there, she starts like jumping up and like swiping them all off her. She's like, holy shit, like what the fuck is going on? She's like running away. And I'm like, whoa, this is kind of weird. And I tried to do a little dance to shake them off, and they kind of all fell off. And then I sat back down, but they just all came back on my body again. And I was like, okay, this is symbolic for something. So I smoked the DMT, took 4 like huge hits, and just like fell down onto the sand, and just feel the hundreds of spiders crawling all over my body, over my face, over my eyes, over my mouth, like over all my skin. And
that's fucking
the DMT visuals are like creating this behind my closed eyes, I'm seeing these spiders weaving dimensions, and I'm seeing how everything is interconnected through this web of life. And it goes deeper and deeper than that. But it was also about conquering fear and letting go and just surrender as well.
Wow, you just made me think of something so cool. Just like how, just really quick, I don't want to hog talking, but just like how like just seeing one vision one time, or even a piece of art, or even like the imagery of like a spider web, and like seeing it like connecting everything in the universe, how that can actually like, if you have, I guess my Mercury in Pisces just makes me like that, but like just anyone, like how like these images can actually like can change your life, just like a mental image that like is an archetype, you know, like just what you said about the spiders, like I can literally think about that now, and that can change my entire way I look at my perception on everything in life. It's crazy.
In UK right now it's 2222. Or just
That's
actually like
I've seen that every day. What does that mean? Because I've seen that every single day, like for the past month.
Well, first of all, the synchronicity, 2222. First of all, it's like you're on the right path and stuff. Any synchronized numbers always lead you to just believe in what you're doing, because you're on the right path. Like definitely what you're doing right now, that's the right thing to do. And then each 2222, it's very much about alignment. It's everything that you do just already. You just you already know.
It's interesting that you're here. Maybe you're supposed to be on here every time. Who fucking knows? Or more than just today. We shall see.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for inviting anyway.
Yeah.
It's always good to talk. Yeah, but about the spiders and the fears, 100%, that is it's so beautiful actually to overcome fear, whatever fear it is. And I think that's what you said, that you almost have overcome the fear of spiders. I personally don't really fear much spiders. I don't know what would be my reaction if I had 100 spiders around my body. I probably would freak out as well. But like normally, I'm not really scared of spiders, but snakes is my thing,
Yeah,
when I was
snakes.
when I was a
I
child.
love them, but I'm scared of them.
Yeah, I'm scared really. And the funny fact, like in Chinese horoscopes, I was born in a snake year, and I'm really scared of snakes. Like, not like that I would just start to scream and run away, but like if I see a snake around, I just don't feel comfortable at all. And I remember childhood, and I think a lot of fears come from childhood first of all. So it came my grand like. Definitely. So I remember this, being a child and my summer house, and there's a lot of snakes there. And my grandfather used to take a shovel and just cut the head off, but I would see them there. Or I would always like be really like paranoid, feeling like, oh shit, there's snakes around the house there. And I was playing there every day. And I've seen many times in my dreams snakes as well. And I know there's also, like dream translators and stuff like that. So there's definitely meaning. I don't remember really what it means, but I'll have a look.
Kundalini, right? Something with Kundalini energy.
It's also unique to because like I remember I had this guy he was from a shamanic tribe. He was my friend in Naropa. He was from a shamanic Hmong tribe, which is not Mongolian. Hmong is a separate people, and for his people, the snake meant that someone was going to be pregnant soon. So the snake was related to fertility. But then in other cultures, the snake has a completely different meaning. And with dreams, it's so personal to us. Like, so we have to look at this, firstly, what the snake represents to us, then also what context it is in and how we're interacting with it. And that goes the same for people too, because let's say we have a person in our dream and we're just interacting with that person, but like that person is our unconscious producing like what they're meant to represent something. So when we come out of the dream, we have to ask like, okay, what does this person represent for me on more of an unconscious level? Like what kind of ideas, like ideals, beliefs does this person stand for? And then how were they acting in my dream? And then that begins to decode kind of the language of dreams for you.
Yeah, I've been reading about dreams and books. Jess?
No, go.
You go.
Continue. No. We have a weird delay.
You've been reading about dream books and stuff, but I haven't gone that far, as Trey said. And definitely next time, because the dreams, they don't really stay in our heads for long, right? Like when I wake up, if I just tell it to someone or write it down, I will remember. If I don't, then I never will. So
Yeah, what Trey said was like, he'll say things and I'm just like, fuck yeah, because I know we've talked about it before, and it's just like it's so true. It's like, that's why I think a lot of people like, oh, what does this dream represent? Like you have to really, that's why meditate, like I always talk about like when I kept a dream journal, how amazing that was for my unconscious, because I was able to like compare my external life with my dream life and then see the synchronicities, and they almost started to come together, and I would see these patterns, and like there would be like reflection of the dream life, and then I would understand my unconscious more through like being able to compare and contrast. But yeah, it's really like kind of what I was saying. You can't just like look up like what this means online, because it's going to mean something completely different to you, right?
yeah.
One individual, like for example, I had a dream the other night where I was basically imprisoned, and then I also threw up. Like it wasn't like a terrible throw up, I kind of like dramatized it a little bit, like a Pisces victim. But I did wake up with some throw up in my mouth. I was completely sober, which is the first time it's ever happened. To throw up, and you can die throwing up in your sleep. And 2 nights ago that happened. Like
Wow.
I like woke up like, what the fuck? I don't sleep on my back anyway, or I usually don't. Actually, I do. What the fuck? But anyways, I really had to like look into like going off on dreams is like, this is one huge thing in my belief system, is that when you wake up from your dream, it's not necessarily that you have to remember the dream, but that dream is going to have a massive. We can even talk about astrological transits. Like that dream is going to have a huge effect on your day. You know what I mean? Like, so if I had a dream 2 days ago where I was fucking imprisoned, like my whole body, everything was aching when I woke up. I had throw up in my like in my throat, like my throat hurt from throwing up. Like I felt horrible, and then that just led to me starting that day. And of course, it was my run day, so I went on the run and listened to music and completely transmuted it. But it's like, that's for me why I think it's so key, and what I've been doing lately, instead of like having coffee right away in the morning, is just like feeling it out. Maybe I can't remember the dream, but trying to tap into my own, I guess, like my own self, and feel like, okay, what effect has whatever dream I had, or whatever experience I've had sleeping had on me? You know what I mean? Because that's, if you're starting from here or if you're starting from here, every day is a new journey. Every day you start, some days you start from minus fucking 20. And if you start from minus 20, like I did the other day, it's different than like today when I woke up feeling like a fucking $1,000,000, when I started probably like plus 20, feeling great. So it's like, it's always different. And be right back. I'm listening, by the way.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say to that? That made me think of, what did that make me think of? It made me think of, I've been trying to, so I was jumping through dimensions last dream. I had some sort of like item that I discovered, that when I like raised it into the sky, I could transport to another dimension, and I was kind of jumping from world to world. But I noticed that my memory of it is very unconscious, which meant that I was not very awake within my dream. And I'm trying to figure out what that means, because there's been times where I've been like flying and I'm very awake. I'm almost like very lucid, like I can control my dream. But then most of the time in my dreams now, I'm very unconscious and things are quite foggy, and I'm not aware that I'm dreaming. And I wonder what that's a reflection of. Like some part of me is sleeping, like some part of me isn't waking up in dreams, and I wonder how that reflects into my waking life. Like what part of me is still sleeping while I'm awake.
Dude, that's 2020 entered, like
2020.
No, really quick. Yeah, I was just saying that just reminds me like the 2020. Okay, we're in 2021. That reminds me like the collective energy, what you're saying, Trey, because I can totally relate with that. Like just feeling like even in the dreams, feeling less aware, I guess, less alive, right? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that means. Like, because for some reason, like I feel like I'm a bit more awake in the waking world, but then when I go to sleep, I'm not as awake. So some part of me is like sleeping, but I feel like it carries on into the waking world. Like some part of my mind is still asleep even when I'm awake. And I think it's the unconscious mind that is still sleeping. And when we become more awake in our dreams, we're actually becoming more aware of that unconscious mind when we're awake too.
I don't know though, man. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. You put a lot of pressure on yourself with like that, the Virgo energy, and maybe like by you doing so much when you're awake, maybe your spirit needs to rest. Like maybe there is that polarity of like being really awake and being and like also having some time to just like completely let go. I don't know if that answers what you're trying to get to, but something like that. But I don't think it's anything to worry about for you. That's my intuition. My other intuition is that it's also based on your situation, not being able to fucking leave your house. Don't forget that key, because it's pretty fucking important.
Yeah, today actually after 3 days being inside the house, I walked out, and I just don't know how it is for Trey. Honestly, I really don't know. I can only say well done on what you're doing, and not getting mentally crazy, like, completely cuckoo bananas. Because when I was 3 days inside in my house, and I just walked outside today, I was so happy, like, smiling, in such a great mood and everything. And I literally I walked in the shop, and I just literally wanted to dance with the tunes, and I thought to myself, that is crazy, like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And then I thought, okay, I just been 3 days inside the house by myself. That's what it is. So actually really well done. Like when anyone who's stuck for like more than 3 weeks indoors with the same people, that is mentally really exhausting. It pushes you to the limits, and I don't really think it makes you who you really are. It makes you not who you are. It makes you very much like suppressed, like I think the energy, like the walls, I think sometimes people might feel like the walls are coming towards you. They like kind of like eating you. Yeah. I don't know, Trey, how because I've been the longest, I think I was for like the first COVID. So when I got COVID in February, I think I was like for 6 weeks not leaving my house. I think that was the longest one. And I could only like I was lucky enough to have a garden, and the garden is quite long, so I could actually walk outside in the garden, just have a fresh air, and that already made me feel much better. But like when you're in the flat or a house where there is no garden or anything like green or alive, that is real like bad.
Yeah.
So what was your like, so when are you planning to, when do you think you're going to be able to leave the house?
Well, actually, I can leave now. My mom just came back from hospital, and she was no longer contagious. So now the whole house is contagion free. So I've been just dying to like jump on my skateboard and just like zoom through the city, but it's all snowy, so can't do that right now. But honest. Dude, I almost killed myself on that thing because it goes at like 40 kilometers an hour.
You're wild boy.
When it's wet on the ground, I've fallen. My wrist and my hip still hurt, actually.
It's actually not wet anymore. I can tell you, it's icy. Oh. Yeah.
Okay, even worse. But actually, I think what happened was I think a lot of 2020 and 2021 is that people are going to get pushed to their edge, and two things are going to happen. They're either going to slip into some sort of like, like mental struggle, or like kind of crash and burn. But I really just took the time to just anchor myself into my center, and it's honestly been a joy. It's really strange to say it, but it has been a joy, because I got to connect on very deep levels internally and have that journey. And it was almost like an excuse. Whereas before I'd always go out, and it's like I would always go out to seek, some joy. But here I couldn't do that. So all I had to do was go inwards, and it forced me to do that. And there's so much growth, and I'm really grateful, actually. It's like there's like some prisoners who say like I'm really grateful for prison because it taught me about like meditation and how to like discipline, how to do that, and that's kind of how I feel here.
Yeah, that's great. I think this is the best thing that you could do. Like if you actually came to that, then I think that there couldn't be anything better than that during the lockdown. Because for me, when the first lockdown started in the UK, like in April, actually March, I had like massive transformation in my life, my relationship, place of living, my job, everything completely like crashed down, and it was in a quite drastic way, I would say. And I just literally felt like because I'm Scorpio, so like it was super scorpionic. It was just like a phoenix just burned from ashes, boom, like and then just that little seed, and it just starts growing and growing and growing, and it was beautiful. Honestly, the sun gives me so much energy, so right now it's more of a struggle for me to stay inside the house, but the first lockdown was beautiful. From that crash, it just a flower started to like grow, and everything was just going up and up and up, and I could feel like how I really been needing this transformation in my life, how I needed this bomb just to explode for all the things start to work. And I really we had a nice conversation with Jess as well. I remember we started to call each other, like have like fucking conversation of 3 hours, and these kind of things like astrology, more like popping in, like meeting more people. Like I think I met Jess when we started connecting, I think it was last year, beginning of the last year, or even before that, probably even before that, but like we started to talk just during the lockdown, like a lot. Yeah,
it was when I was at that food festival thing. When I walked like 30,000 feet that day, 30,000 steps.
Yeah, but like before that, we knew each other, like we already, but then we started to
we
talk.
FaceTimed that day because you.
Yeah, that's true. And
for like 5 hours.
like so I wanted to say that this also has been very similar to me, like you, Trey. Like it's been beautiful time, like self growth, understanding a lot that I needed to change in my life, and super thankful for all the shit that came upon my head, and actually made it for better.
Yeah. Woo!
Yeah.
I feel like cheering. Woohoo!
Look at my glass. It's like a rainbow color. You can't really see it.
To the tea, the boss.
The boss.
Dude, you guys, I feel like Jesse should have a cup just like that. You guys should both, when you guys meet, you should both just get the boss cups and just cheers.
We kind of look alike, don't we? if I shade my face, kind of. That's what Jacqueline said.
If you were younger and had the bone structure of a woman.
we're the same age, I think.
But you are?
Yeah.
Oh,
she looks young.
I think
she's young. I'm 25.
No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not 25.
I stopped aging. I decided. I signed a contract. I stopped aging at 25.
But I think I'm older than you.
I think you're 1 year older, or 1 year the same.
Yeah, 1 year older. But thanks, Trey.
Wow.
I appreciate it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and Trey, you asshole.
That took me by surprise. You look
Thank you. I
Yeah, you do look.
that.
That skin, that Latvian skin. Okay, that's weird.
What do you know about Latvian skin?
Too much. Too much.
Well,
I like your. Oh no, never mind. I was just like looking at random stuff in your kitchen. But what were you saying?
And Trey, how old are you?
25.
No, wait, Trey. That's ageist. Don't answer that. That's
He's
from
just
our
tricking me, guys, honestly.
No, I was born in 1995. I'm actually 25.
yeah. No, he is.
Actually.
That was a reference. That was a reference to our second podcast episode, I believe.
I'm the year of the
we,
pig in Chinese zodiac.
Pig.
Yeah.
Well, you
Oink, oink.
eat like a pig.
Excuse me?
I'm
a Virgo.
You're an
I do
ageist.
not eat like.
No,
you're an
Virgos,
ageist
come on.
pig.
Yeah. Jess, how can you
Trey's
say
an
he's like
ageist. Trey is an ageist pig. That's what Trey is. He's ageist.
Well,
Really, truly.
he as a Virgo, I'll show you. So he as a Virgo must eat like this.
Yeah.
He does, unless he's with the dog. Yeah. Very quaint.
I was raised to eat like that.
He's really a Viking.
Cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it. Exactly.
And he's a Libra cusp, so he's even worse. But when you actually get Trey's soul out,
then he must have tuxedo on him as well.
He should start wearing tuxedos, I think.
I've got a nice Italian suit in my closet.
I love men.
Well, I want you to start wearing that for our podcast, Trey. Come on, dress professionally. Let's get you in.
Guys, let's just make it like a trend. Can we make it like a trend? If you will still invite me for the next one, then we could like just put on these like tuxedos. Like I don't know. I need to get some super posh dress, with a
pearl necklace.
With some pearl necklace and stuff.
Yeah.
Give us an excuse to dress up.
Yes, high heels.
Yeah.
Which you definitely gonna pay attention. Yeah,
I would.
I'll dress. I'll even cross dress. Don't worry. I'll wear a wig and put makeup on. It'll be really sexy.
Oh yeah, I think that sounds very good. That sounds like a plan.
I
just thought of
painted
the photo.
Jesse's face once.
No, you remember what Yanela sent you, the video of me as a girl from those transform apps, where it's me as a girl but with facial hair. Ugh.
Oh yeah, the transform.
Yeah, it was.
Jesse felt there was this point when we were in America where Jesse fell in love with a girl version of himself.
This is not narcissism.
It is. You're like, God, aren't I beautiful? And like, Jesse, that app kind of makes you look creepy. And he's like, dude, but look, I'm so hot. Look at me. And he would be like, mwah, mwah, mwah.
Yeah, it was this. Remember Facebook for a while? For a while, Facebook, there was this thing on there called Slice or something. I forget the name. And you took a picture of yourself. I just took my profile. What's that?
I put myself as an old woman. Like, this transformation stuff that, makes you how are you going to look like you're going to be old. And you put the young girl instead.
Yep.
Well, but she looked hot. And I was like, wow, that's like my dream girl. It's me. So it's kind of weird. I was like, is this the divine, like showing me a photo of my soulmate? But it's this app that's fucking with me. I was tripped out, but fun times.
What's actually a really cool exercise to do is to imagine like what how do I put this? I'm going to use the word twin flame. Imagine
musical chords.
Imagine your ideal kind of like energy that you would match with. It can be an opposite gender or another gender, but imagine it like an external figment of your imagination. Could be a cat.
Can it be a cat? Okay. Well, Mika. I don't want to make love with her, but she is my soulmate.
Yeah. And then imagine you and that perfect energy coming together in your head. Like, imagine what that's like. And then you realize that actually that energy that you've just imagined is literally you. And when you do that, it is this almost like internal alchemy of balancing one polar, like feminine with the masculine. Like for me, I imagine this feminine person who matches my energy exactly, who hits that spark in my heart that, you know, just like sends things flying. And when I imagine that, it's like an alchemy of bringing those two things together. And I'm realizing that, wait, that female, this exterior thing that I'm imagining is actually me. It's my own internal feminine side.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, to me it made total sense, but I'm Mercury in Pisces, so I don't know how to say it. But yeah,
Oh,
it's like it's like with the argument of like, oh, you know, I need something outside of myself or someone outside of myself. But then like, if you actually think like, what is the perfect person for me? Like, what do they feel like? What do they look like? What do they act like? What are they like? You realize that like, you can actually, that like you are a true embodiment of that, because the fact that you would want that means that you really are that in an opposite spectrum, because that's what you want to become.
Yes.
That's what your other half per se is. I'm not using the word twin flame, but like, and maybe, just maybe, you'd attract something maybe not exactly like that, because, you know, like God and universe is always playing tricks, but something close with a southern accent. I fucked it up.
But the karmic lessons.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the desire for this, when you really truly combine those things, then you're not even seeking for that person anymore, because you've found that energy inside yourself. And so you're like so fucking, you know, just in it. You're just you're not seeking for that energy anymore, because it's like right in you. I got both sides.
Well, that's
so then you're gonna marry yourself.
Yeah. I literally think this is what this like holy trinity is kind of pointing at, is this, it is a union of a marriage of yourself within your own within your own chemistry. I think that all those metaphors are pointing towards the same thing, with like the Kundalini energy rising, where it's Ida and Pingala, which are the two polar opposite channels that travel up Sushumna Nadi, which is the central channel in the spine. But Ida and Pingala are the masculine and feminine polarities. And I think it's, you know, this union, this beloved union where two come together as one. I think it's all same symbolism.
I think that, yeah, well, basically everything starts from yourself anyway. So no one will ever be really like happy in a relationship. It's just gonna keep breaking them up and going to the next ones until you will understand that, you know, the happiness and love for self is the one to be found first. And then from there starts the relationship with the other. So if you don't love yourself, then no one will love you, because you don't love yourself, and you just look for that love in the others, but the whole thing always comes back to you.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
Except for those saint
and
people
some traditional
out there who can like love you even when you don't love yourself, and then they teach you. But I feel like even if you don't love yourself, there are some soulmate contracts or kind of like relationship contracts that end up leading you towards self-love through the mirror of another person. Like, let's say you don't love yourself at all, you don't understand how people can love you, and then one person comes along and then does, and then all of a sudden that kind of gives you the ability to love yourself. I mean, I can see that as well. There's all sorts of relationship contracts.
It's like, I would define it, I would agree, but I would say it's more of a portal, you know, Trey, like, as opposed to like, this person's going to come along, it's going to give you the opportunity to potentially love yourself, but you still have to act.
But it won't stay.
But
it won't stay there.
It's not like it automatically comes and a flip gets switched and you have self-love. It's like, okay, this person comes along, shows you a new side of life, or maybe parts of you, and then it's like, but you still have to do the work. You still have to fucking like, know that even if this person disappeared, would you just fucking let it all go, or would you keep the lessons you learned?
Yeah, truth. Yeah.
Because if you have a relationship and you have that person, and then you guys break up, and everything good, all the growth from that relationship just goes away, then it's not real growth.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not necessarily it's not necessarily linear. Like maybe, you know, it's like it ends, and then at first like there's a shitstorm, but then in the long term, like the seeds were planted, whatever, like kind of how my mom planted seeds in me that led to me becoming spiritual that I used to reject when I was younger. Yeah. But I think it's impossible not to grow from a relationship in some way, you know?
Yeah, I mean, unless you I think there are people who will never face the pain, like, because to be able to grow from, like, I mean, relationships, they teach us a lot, but I think the breakups, when you're really invested with someone, the pain that kind of comes afterwards is the real teacher. And a lot of people don't confront or deal with pain or follow it to its depths, because it can go very, very deep, and it can threaten our whole way of life. Like, imagine someone's working a full-time job, like, and they also have to tackle this incredible deep dive that comes from the ending of a cycle, which is what a relationship ending is.
Exactly. And that's why, like, also at 2020, I just feel like so many like personal cycles are ending, like, for people, like everyone in some way. Okay, like ask me what, like, before 2020, I'm not even, I think this would have happened, COVID or not, but COVID helped it so much. And also, like, you know, being like in a relationship where I live with my girlfriend and not really, like, you know, need to go out looking for chicks like I used to all the time. But like my lifestyle is completely different now. Like I don't drink at all, but rarely, like less than 10 times. If you would have told me like 3 or 4 years ago that I would drink less than 10 times in a fucking year, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, you mean 100 times maybe? And I did. And I think that for me has been one thing, but I think everyone has hopefully at least one thing in their life that they've completely like adjusted and switched up, you know. And it might not even be something that's conscious at the moment. It could be like a deeply rooted unconscious pattern, or a tendency, or a person, or relationship, whatever, you know. But I feel like there's been a lot of purging of sorts.
Definitely. Yeah, and things are, oh God, I wish I remembered all the things I just read about the yugas and time, and for some reason that like connects, but I can't.
We talked about this in our last podcast, didn't we?
About the yugas? No, I think we talked about it in the astrology group.
Oh, that's right. Okay. What are you trying to think about with the yugas?
I don't know. I think let's just move on.
Let's what?
Let's just move on. I wish I could remember, because something connects here, but it's not quite.
It was something about you were thinking about cycles, and you were thinking about how, like, you know, like we're going in all the, like, the world is going in these in this 24,000 like repetitive cycle, and we're on like the ascending arc of it as humanity, as a world, and how you're probably relating that in some way to what I was saying about people going, like, breaking cycles, and how probably this year is like very important in that, just because of what's happened externally, something like that. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
And also, don't you think, like everyone's talking about it, that this year has given opportunities to so many people who were really exhausted of their jobs and their routines, to open their eyes and give them this massive opportunity to finally start working on they always loved and they were passionate about and they were actually meant to do in this lifetime. Because it's always like this, you know, like you say, oh yeah, I wish I could do that, but then I don't have time, and then I need to work, and I need money, and this and that, and this and that. Right now, I know it's not everywhere in the world, but mostly I would like to believe that people can stay at home, still survive somehow, and then they have so much time and time is money, actually. So it can be invested in anything that you always postponed and always said, oh, I wish I could do that, but I don't have time. And I think it's great time to really rethink and finally start doing those things, just push yourself somehow, because it's very difficult as well at the same time. It's like a given opportunity, but with specific terms, right? Because you're in lockdown, you're stuck in a house, the energy is not the same, you can't do so many things. It kind of drops you really down, but the opportunity is still there and you have that time. So you somehow can find a way doing those things. And I've seen so many people doing stuff that I've never seen them doing before, which is super great. And hopefully most of them, they will come out of the lockdowns and out of this COVID, and they will continue doing it, So
yeah,
there's always a good thing in negativity. Yeah.
I just like always think about like how there's two types of people. There's the people that see things as who might like look at COVID and see it as an opportunity, or who might see it as a detriment, like if you have the mindset of every single thing that happens, I can be adaptable and I can see it as I can find an opportunity in even the darkest thing. Like, okay, it's COVID, I can't go outside. Oh, like every narrative you create, right? Like I can easily create a narrative like I feel like I'm in prison, like I have to wear my mask to go outside. I feel like all these things. Like that's a fucking narrative. Like me and Trey talked about this a lot last week. Like, and to be, I think like a big lesson. I mean, I've always kind of been like this, but even more this year has been to create my own stories, my own narratives of reality, because that's ultimately the most powerful thing. Like I refuse to think that I'm a fucking like imprisoned slave, like having to fucking put this on. I decide to think that I'm putting that on because maybe it will be better for, helping the disease not spread. I just decide that, even if other people disagree or not. And it goes back to that whole, what was the quantum physics theory, Trey, of everything being possible? I always forget the name.
Yeah, it comes from the double slit experiment, where basically our reality shifts based on the observer on reality. So it's also a theory that helps to support that our thoughts shape our reality as well. Because if we're observing reality through a specific lens, then reality will be shifting, because everything exists in a quantum state of potential. So an infinite state of potential. It's like a wave of possibility where a particle is not even fixed into a specific point. But then the second we observe the particle, then the waveform collapses into a single point. And that's what we do in life. When we are perceiving reality through a certain lens, we're shaping reality into existence through this perception.
Yeah, definitely. I've always believed in that. Like, in simple words, maybe saying like, where there's a will, there's always a way, right? And there will be. And the things will fall into places when you believe in yourself and you believe in what you can reach. And just don't let like that stagnation, like that dark shit coming up your head and like telling you, yeah, everything's shit. No, nothing's shit. Everything's great. Just carry on. If you need some time, just give yourself some time.
Have you ever watched like skateboarders,
Exactly.
like a skateboarding video or something like that, or just like skateboarders like going along?
I don't particularly watch, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess my relation is like,
I do.
When you skateboard, you fall down a fuck ton, especially when you're starting. And some of the wipeouts that these people go on when they're doing these jumps onto rails, like down these big staircases, like they hit the concrete like hard. But the thing that makes a skater like a skater, and the ones who get good, are the ones who just keep getting back up and keep going for it. And they just keep going for the same thing, no matter how many times they fall back down. Sometimes they might break their arm or their ankle, but they'll heal and then they'll go back right back at it. And it's like nothing can stop them. They're just always getting back up and going for it.
Yeah, nothing can stop all the way up. Yeah, that's true. Very, very good comparative. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the key. And like I think of it like a flashlight. Like you want your reality, like when you have self-limiting beliefs, like I'm not this kind of person, I'm not that kind of person, I don't want to like oh I'm like I don't want to feel like a slave. Like it's like you're looking at reality with tunnel vision. Like this is like if you think of everything as like a 360 degrees of like what reality can be, infinite 360 degrees. Because once you get to 360, it's like infinite. You're looking at like a 15-degree lens. But by having that state of mind, how can I make it so every view is possible? That's what, to me, what like, I mean, it's so much more dope to have that mindset of life in general, that anything is possible and to question everything.
Yeah. To live in that state of infinite possibility, as compared to the collapsed single atom view.
Yeah, the rock metaphor, I've probably given that on this podcast, haven't I? I forget what I say here with clients, with Cosmos. It's like it's hard to like distinguish. Have I spoken about that metaphor, that the like being the big rock or the pebble, the one I always talk about?
Yeah. With the river.
I probably have on here, yeah. I just don't know if I said it here or Cosmos. It's one of my big ones. But
fuck it, say it.
I might. Yeah, I might as well say it again. So like I always say to people, like it's like in life, it's way better to imagine yourself like a big ass fucking rock inside the river, where there's all like, you know, the waves and currents, where you're, no matter what current comes, like what energy comes, you still stay grounded, as opposed to being like a little pebble that gets pushed around by every fucking little wave and current. And how does that, you know, manifest in external life? It's like, you know, with for example, with people, other people who are trying to fucking dangle that carrot in front of you and get a reaction out of you, you know, even your own energy, how you harness your own energy. Just to be solid means that like you have figured yourself out, and you have figured out how to be immovable, and how to have boundaries, and how to be super fucking like grounded in where you're going and where you're at and what your goals are and what you're here to do. And to kind of have like this alert system, like when something or someone comes that like is getting in the way of that, you know what I mean? I don't know if you guys want to add to that.
I just imagined like when you said a little pebble in the sea, yeah, and you just, one wave comes, you get hit to one point, then another one, then another one, and it's just like it's crazy. Yeah, I really imagine that. Like that's how it really is in life.
It's way better to just like figure out how you can be that solid one, right?
Or at least like trying to find your way to it, because it's not easy to, you know, just thinking about it, that you need to find the groundness, that's already like way up.
Yeah, it's the first step is the thought.
I like to have this like polar kind of visualization, where it's like I'm 100% anchored. I think that's kind of what a stable root chakra feels like, is this immutable will. You're kind of like completely anchored in your reality, in a way that you, no matter how many, like let's say all these people start yelling at you, like maybe your family or your boss, like, or, you know, people in your life, they're, no matter what comes at you, you're not going to get pulled into the tides of other influences. You're not going to let them take you, unroot, like yank you out of the ground. You're always rooted there, and you're centered, and you can react to the world from that center place.
Yeah, actually, exactly. It was funny the way you said the root chakra. You said it like in this proper Indian way, like root chakra.
yeah. Trey is very.
It was really cool.
Trey's very.
I liked it.
Let's just say Trey's very connected to India from past lives, and maybe even this life. In the future, that is.
In Hindi and in Sanskrit, if you say chakra, which is what a lot of Americans say, chakra, it means cucumber.
Chakra. And
then
am
so
I right,
chakra
Trey?
is cucumber, and then chakra.
Chakra, yeah.
Yeah.
Chakra.
Yeah.
Chakra is really like
That one of my
easy for me to say in Latvian from Latvian way of talking and stuff, you know. Chakra.
oh my god. I was just about to say one of my biggest pet peeves, and this isn't an asshole thing, Trey, you're gonna agree, is when I just love how English sounds like from like foreigners. Like your accent, Trey, you don't really speak it like an American, but like when a really American accent tries to speak like a foreign language, oh my god, like in like epic
Yeah.
fail, like no hablo español, like just like the most
Yeah.
cringy thing ever, like hearing that once, that's like one reason why I had to get the fuck out of the US. Like that could literally ruin my day as a Sag moon and an international man. To hear one American try to like, oh dude, you've been to France, man? I fucking love soccer, dude. Yeah. Like, oh my god, I've had people send me messages even too where it's
100%.
like I don't want to out anyone. Like I said, I don't want to out anyone. But yeah, it hurts me deep inside. Like I really feel it physically. I don't know what it is. I don't think is it ego? Because I don't have an ego of being like a foreign person, because that's who I fucking am, you know? Like that's like how I've always been, but it's just like it hurts. Like, inside
There
my
is
heart,
something
like, my
about
bones and ribs.
there is something like when you're traveling abroad and there's just an American at the restaurant and they're just trying to speak that language, but they don't adapt their accent to the intonations of the language. And so they're just saying it in a complete American accent. I'm like, but wait, just try and say it French, or try and say it Spanish, like, you know, or wherever you are. Yeah, it's funny. It's literally funny.
But what is the thing about Americans? Like, why they have it's always like so, because like from Europe, you know, it doesn't really happen that much. I mean, yeah, Italians, they have extremely strong accent. Like when they speak in English, we always used to laugh so much with them. My colleagues, you know, they would be like, my bread, can you give me this piece? I want to go back to home. Can you
I love
please
that.
give this? French, for example, they have this. In Spanish, they have like upstairs, downstairs. My boss.
Yeah.
But there was some specific, like I could really do it well. I mean, like obviously I'm not British or American either way, you know, like I'm not, my accent, I have as well, like, you know, different kind of accent, but they have like this specific, like really funny one, Italian and Spanish, you know, Italian specifically.
Yeah.
And there's a lot
Talons are hilarious.
there's a video called Italian Men Who Went to Malta. I think I've laughed about this video I don't know how many times. You gotta watch it, like everyone, really.
Italian
for
men
some
that
reason
went to
that doesn't get me, you know. It's like when people from European countries or Asian countries or wherever are speaking English heavily accented, it's like
I love
that's
it.
totally fine.
Yeah.
But then when an American,
I
there's
love
just
it.
something about when an American speaks another language with their accent that just like just like gets you to like
You know what it is, Trey? We know what it is. Part of it is like that whole America's the best country in the world like mindset in the back of their heads.
You think it's because of that, yeah? So that explains probably.
It's part of it. It's part of that, because there's sometimes like a very like, I don't know, patronizing tone, undertone. Right. But it's like you're the one that's the idiot and you're talking.
It's probably the people around always think like that. Yeah, they're probably just like, okay, yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's why when I travel, I don't stay at hostels, because, and I know I've had good experience at hostels, but like I know, like I just have like some phobia, some American culture phobia of like the really basic American culture. I like, it can just like that's where I have to work on for my whole immovable rock thing, because like, and I'm not saying all Americans, I love it. Some of my best friends in the world are Americans, like a ton of them, my family, but it's that one person that can just ruin me. That can just ruin me with the right word. No, just like like kind of how I explained before, like an example, like I said before, of like an American speaking in that way, or trying to be cultured but just sounding horrible. Just really basic American culture is like my weakness. Fuck, now I told people my weakness. My kryptonite has been revealed. Damn it. Anyways, we should probably shift this to something more cool and spiritual. What else do we say? So boundaries, people who are constantly, this is what I wrote down from our talk before. Boundaries, people who are constantly demanding energy or trying to get you down to a level. Do we talk about that?
Kind of,
so.
not really. I mean, at the beginning, no, we didn't actually.
Oh yeah, we talked about the other one. If someone doesn't, oh yeah, and then also if someone doesn't believe in energy that you live, yeah, also like kind of like, yeah, we talked about that a lot, like about like living with other people, but just also like, yeah, like if you're like spiritual person that believes in energy and you're living with someone that doesn't, like not being able to communicate with them. Like for example, if I was living with you guys, like I could be like, hey, my energy is like down right now. That's like our language, you know, like my energy is a little bit low. Like I just need to be alone. Like I'm super sensitive energetically right now. Like not being able to have that lingo. It's like, how do you communicate that to someone who might just like mock you? That's not a problem I go through, but I'm just like, I feel like a lot of people listening to this will have that problem, you know?
Yeah, but there's also living with like empathetic people is like the thing with like our house, like we lived in a 4-person house in Boulder, and you feel like when you're empathetic, you feel the state everyone's in, and you know if it's good to kind of like keep your space, or you know how to interact with those things. But if you're living with someone who isn't empathetic, and maybe you're in a very sensitive place and they have a lot like a strong energy that's coming on, and you kind of just need that, it's even hard to communicate if you're just like saying, hey, I'm kind of feeling down and like I want to be on my own, is that okay? It's like someone who isn't empathetic even might take that personally. It's, you know, it's just,
Yes.
there's so many variables.
Definitely, yeah. It's basically like an art to find I think the living situation easier. Like I think the more you are I don't know how to explain, I'm missing words. So like for me, astrology really helps me to understand people around me and analyze them. So that's the best way
Yes.
for me how to understand how to deal with them. And it's super quick. It's just like boom, you just have a look at the chart, you see, and then you understand everything, why things are exactly the way, everything falls into the places. And I'm not saying that you need to constantly like just look in the chart, whatever, you know, but you just get this idea straight away. And then yeah, and then onwards from there, it's very easy, like, or way much easier to already expect something, or to give them the space if they need it, to talk to them when they want, if they cry. I don't know what I'm saying, just for example, you know, some people when they cry or they're sad,
Yeah.
they just don't want anyone to see them. And somebody actually wants the opposite. They want you to hug them and just come and like, come on, man, everything's going to be good. And there's so many ways, right? So I think the astrology is a beautiful way how to, but I'm not saying that's the only, you know, obviously. It just helps me personally. I don't know. How do you try, like, for example, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you, when you don't know, for example, what do you do? When you don't know someone and you're living with that person, how do you find out? Do you ask them? What do you do?
I kind of have like emotional antennas. So I like feel in my body the way they want me to interact around them. And so it's a very empathetic emotional connection that's almost on a sensory level. So I don't use like any kind of mind thing to kind of rationalize and process. It's very much in the moment, like I'm with them. And sometimes I'll have an error when I'm like not in a clear head. Like if I'm not in a clear space, then I can't sense other people as well. But most of the time it's like I'm feeling out, like every time I can feel when someone's even about to come down the stairs before they've even gone up. There's these impulses and energies that I'm just picking up on. And you can tell when someone wants a hug, or compared to when they just want to be left alone. There's a very obvious feeling in the air.
Yeah, sure. For me, but I think that like I'm very intuitive as well, but I sometimes just kind of like I'm not sure, you know, and then not always, but sometimes, you know, obviously it depends with who and stuff. And then astrology is like more kind of thing that helps me to understand the character in general, and then I'm just following, like you said, just feeling the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really
For me, definitely mix of the two.
It's a really important tool to teach, I think, in younger years, because that's a lot of what we're missing in the world is like an empathetic connection. We're coming at the world with so much, well, especially from more kind of American English kind of backgrounds. It's like we come at the world with such an individualistic, personal, from my perspective, and from my thoughts, and our thoughts are so loud on the typical human that it overrides these very subtle feelings. And an empathetic connection is something that really needs to be nurtured in children as we grow. It should be in in curriculum on how to
definitely
feel these things.
100%.
How to be psychic. Yeah, for me it's definitely a mix of obviously astrology, but just intuition as well, kind of mixing the two, because you can have someone's birth chart, but if like, even from like that, an astrological perspective, if they're going through like a Pluto square moon, they're not going to act very much like their birth chart, so it's like it's like really like taking the astrology, but then being like, okay, I'm gonna also like look at just kind of like what I see and what I feel, because like the birth chart's also like what that person has manifested up to this point.
Obviously, you're not going to be walking around the house with the birth chart and just keep on looking, okay, what this is going to say to me now, Of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, how long have we been talking for?
Quite a while. I think we can pull it to an end.
Yeah, well,
unless anyone has something that jumps out.
What time do we start? Around
9 something.
Oh, I'm like shit. I'm 2 hours. So 11. Oh, damn. So probably 2 hours. Damn.
They just ran.
No, not 2 hours.
No?
Close. Yeah, probably close to an hour 40, hour 50, kind of like the last one. So that's cool. Well, it's been awesome. Yeah, I feel like we didn't really have any ideas of what to talk about, but we got some good stuff out. And it is tough during this Mercury retrograde. I felt it. Like it's like in like the last episode me and Trey had. Trey, I think you can probably agree with this. Like I felt like it was like magic in the air. Like we were like the communication, even in the last, like not this last Cosmos, 2 Cosmos ago. Like I feel like it's been a lot harder to like create the communicative magic, like at least for me during this Mercury retrograde. Like I've had to work a lot harder. You guys feel that at all?
I felt exactly like perfect example today. Super funny, stupid thing, just delivery guy just like called me and said, I'm here. I'm Amazon driver. I just delivered your package, and I was thinking I didn't order anything from Amazon. I ordered from eBay. So I thought like, and I just literally got to the guys like, how did you get my number? Like I didn't order anything from Amazon. And he goes like, yeah, but I've got your number from the site. So like, can you please open the doors? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not number 9. I live in number 8. And I'm thinking like all these things are so weird, and this is such a funny, stupid, like perfect example about Mercury retrograde, how things go wrong so badly, because I actually made a mistake and I wrote down number 9 instead of 8, but there is no such number 9 in my house, it's just the last one is 8. And I just, so dumb. Yeah. And then everything goes just so wrong. And it's just a small thing, simple, small thing. And of course, Mercury retrograde.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
That's a good example. Yeah, I had a very similar thing yesterday with, I was buying this this kind of this downloadable content for this game my brother and I play called Super Smash Brothers. And I got the digital code, inputted it into the game, and it's like, this code has already been used. I was like, what the fuck? I just bought this. Like, no one should have used this. I'm chatting with Amazon support. I call Amazon support. I'm like talking with them. And then I realized that I just literally put in the wrong code, and then the right one is just like right at the top of the page. I'm like, fuck.
How,
Yeah.
right? How?
It's
Like
like-
normally I'm so good with technology, so I was like, how the fuck did I fuck that one up?
Yeah, I'm usually always very
Yeah,
good
this-
precise with the numbers as well. But
Yeah, this retrograde is really tough, I think, for the cognitive process, but we're getting through it. I thought it was a really interesting episode, and I hope people listening can take something from it. I hope we get similar downloads as our last episode, which I think had more downloads in one episode nearly than every other episode combined, but I also promoted the shit out of it, so maybe I'll do that again. But yeah, been a pleasure, and we'll do it again soon. It was awesome having you on, Agnija.
super nice having you guys, and thanks for having me actually. So hopefully we'll catch up soon again, and have a lovely night.
Cosmo's this Saturday.
Yeah,
Cosmo's
and it's
this Saturday for anyone wanting to join.
It's 23:23 right now, and we're ending this conversation. So let's end this on this note.
Okay,
Awesome.
thanks guys. I'm gonna end the recording.